Hello, Dr. Chantel Mosby here, and I want to talk to you today about students who are interested in taking the SSAT. So let's begin here. First, let's talk about exactly what the SSAT is. So the SSAT is a secondary school admissions test. This SSAT is normally given by private schools who have students who are interested in their program. And this helps the private schools determine exactly where to place the student at in their school. Okay. So for those who are interested in joining a private school, also eventually who would like to enter college, which there are other tests that they'll be taking, the SSAT is well known, is very common for private schools to offer. And so that I help them something like a placement test, okay? And also, it is a multi-leveled test, okay? It's a multi-level test. And let's just talk about briefly the different levels that they offer, okay? So we first want to just determine the student level, what level the student will actually be taking, because there are different practice guides for different levels, okay? So for starters, for students who are currently in the third and in the fourth grade, they'll be taking the lower level or the elementary level, I like to say, um, test for them. Those students who are in the fifth grade through the seventh grade currently, they'll be taking the middle level test. And those students who are currently in the eighth grade through the 11th grade, they'll be taking the upper level test. Okay. Now, these particular students are for the third and the fourth grade students currently. That means that they'll be entering, let's put it entering, fourth and fifth grade. Okay. So you have a student that will be entering fourth or fifth grade. They'll be taking this first level that you see here. If you have a student that'll be entering sixth grade through the eighth grade, they'll be taking that middle level test. And then those who are entering the ninth grade through the 12th grade, they'll be taking that upper level test. All right. So in order to help them prepare, we need to know which practice exam that they'll be taking. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to be doing for those students to help them with their SSAT is give them a practice test online. Okay. So once we first give them a practice test online, this will let us know exactly the things that we need to focus on primarily so that they'll be better prepared to take their test. So step one is take the practice test online, and this will help the students also be more familiar with taking a computerized test. And some places also still have the paper test, but we're going to prepare the computerized test way, okay? The next thing is once the student has taken the practice test online, then we'll be able to focus on the student's weaknesses, meaning we can see where their strong points are. We don't expect them to master everything, but for the areas where the child is struggling at, or it appears that they didn't score as well in those areas, then that's what we're going to focus at for them. Okay. Now, you say, what areas will the students be taking the test in? So with this, there are actually 4 sections of the SSAT. Okay, there are 4 sections of the SSAT, and let's just talk briefly about each one of those. So the first section we're going to talk about is verbal, and with verbal, those include synonyms, and analogies. Okay, and analogies. So this is basically our vocabulary. Where many students they struggle in vocabulary. For me, vocabulary is basically an ongoing thing, or ongoing learning. You can't expect a student to know all the vocabulary words. You can't expect a student to know all the prefixes and the suffixes at this point that they're taking, or also the root words. But this is helpful if they know their prefixes as many as possible, if they know the suffixes as many as possible, they know their root words as well, their vocabulary words, they're familiar with those things that are similar, those things that are opposites. And when you're doing analogies, you actually are going to see the relationship, or you have to understand the relationship between the words that are presented to you. Okay. So that's what the students will be focusing on for the verbal section. And then there is a math section as well that students are to take an exam on. Now, again, this test or this exam is a multi-level exam. So some of the things the students will know, some of the things the students just simply won't know. Okay. So it could be something that seems lower than what they're used to. It could be some skills that seem a bit too challenging for them, but this is very common. But this is part of the SSAT. Okay. Next, we also have reading. Now, with reading, it can include the main idea, author's purpose, analyzing, and just basically overall reading comprehension. So the students may focus on the main idea, author's purpose, inferences, analyzing, and just comprehension skills. Okay, for the reading section. And then last but not least, they also have a writing section that is not scored, but it is, however, reviewed by the school. And for this section, students need to know how to either write a story, or they need to know how to write an essay. They'll be provided with 2 topics that they can actually choose from those 2 topics, especially when we're practicing. They'll be able to choose out of one of the 2 topics. They can write a story or essay. They need to include about 5 paragraphs. For those who are in the that's in the middle level and the upper level, they should be writing 5 paragraphs by now. And so you're just pretty much going to apply the skills that you've already been taught, or the student will go ahead and apply the skills that they've already been taught in their English sessions already. And they're going to do that. Okay. So we have the 4 sections of the SSAT: verbal, math, reading, and writing. The main thing is to focus on the child's weakness. So after we've tackled these and focus on the child's weakness based on the results. So based on the initial results of the practice test, we will focus on the weaknesses. We will learn some concepts as it pertains to that material. And then we will take another test. Repeat the process and focus on the weakness of the student. Okay, weakness or weaknesses of the student. Now, with that being said, there are different ways that we can actually prep the student or prepare the student for the SSAT. Okay. For one, they do have official practice material. And that could be either through a hard book that you can order. It could also be through an ebook. Okay. or slash PDF that you can actually have access to and print off. Okay. So that's for the online practice material or the practice test. Also, they do have specific tests like SSAT English portion. They also have hard books or ebooks for that. That's easy to be, you can easily print it depending on where you are in the world. Some places may not actually deliver hard books. When if you try to order things on the websites, whether it's Amazon or from an official or from the official SSAT website. So then you want to go with the PDF, okay, version of these. So you can just easily print them and just place them in a notebook. Also for the practice exam, you can either again do that through a hard book, ebook, or you can do the practice online, which is what we do. We practice it online, as we stated it before. And then last but not least, based on the child's area or concentration that they need improvement on, we'll be using our teacher's materials. It could be depending on whether it's for third grade level, fifth grade level, eighth grade level. We'll be using our resources based on the curriculum that we already have, or gathering more resources is based on the material or based on the subject that the student needs more help in. Okay. But overall, a student is, or best results for a student would be for that student to prepare 3 months. Some prepare more, some prepare less. You know your child, if your child's attention span is not long, then their 3 months will probably be maybe 6 months to prepare for it. It just depends on their attention span and how they absorb information and how long they retain information. Some people may be in and need a crunch time for it. But overall, for SSAT, just say it takes 3 months to prepare for it. You need to study, or the student needs to study 3 to 4 hours per week. So they need to book with their tutor 3 to 4 hours per week to prepare for it. Also, some students, they do it less than 3 months. Some may only have 30 days prior to their admission test. And then, of course, that would mean they would need to study a little more often or more hours than a student who has 3 months to take it. Okay. But overall, the students have everything that they need. They just have to remember when they're taking their tests, use their test taking tips. For one, always use a process of elimination. When they don't know the answer for sure, make sure they analyze the material provided or the stories provided or the vocabulary words provided. Build some type of relationship between the vocabulary words. Build a relationship when it comes to the story and what the author's purpose and intent is as well. Think about what the main idea of that story is by focusing on the topic, the first sentence. Revisit the last sentence, just like they do in their writings. They are to include their topic in their first sentence. They are to restate their topic sentence in their conclusion. So they need to do the same when they are reading material and build those relationships in reading and in their analogies as well. Okay. But overall, make sure that they read all questions and all answers first before marking an answer. And last but not least, be confident in what they need to do. Make sure they know that that they're aware they're not going to be able to master everything that's on the SSAT. As well, is not to be expected for them to master everything that they see. So to be confident and to not get discouraged when they see something that they're not familiar with. Just keep going and answering the questions, but read all of them. Read the questions, read the answers before making a selection to it, and just keep going and do the best that they can. And then overall, once it's submitted to the school, they'll review it and see where they scored at, and that'll just let the school know where to place that student. Okay. All right. Well, good luck on the SSAT. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or message me on WhatsApp. Bye bye. Thank you for listening.